As per all of our board meetings, this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the hdsb.ca website. As per the Education Act and the board's bylaws, as director, I will conduct the opening portion of the inaugural meeting of the board. As per public health recommendations, we are meeting remotely this evening. I will now take a trustee roll call. Please answer as I call your name in alphabetical order by last name. Trustee Amos.
Good evening, everyone.
Trustee Bao.
Good evening, everyone.
Trustee Collard.
Good evening.
Trustee Daniele.
Thank you, Director Ennis. I am here.
Trustee L. Harrison.
Hello.
Trustee Garrett.
Good evening, everyone.
Trustee Gray.
Hello from the hills.
Trustee Gerbans.
Good evening, everybody.
Trustee Oliver.
Good evening, everyone.
Trustee Reynolds.
I'm present.
Trustee Rocha.
I'm here.
Trustee Shuttleworth.
Hi, everybody.
Trustee Vidyalankara.
Hi, everyone.
And I would just like to let you know that all our staff are here this evening, and we are glad to be here. Today, Trustee Reynolds will be honoring the land.
Thank you. Halton, as we know it today, is rich in history and modern traditions of many First Nations and the Métis. From the Anishinaabe to the Ottawa-Naran, the Haudenosaunee, and the Métis, these lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in Indigenous history. As we gather today on these treaty lands, we have the responsibility to honor and respect the four directions: land, waters, plants, animals, ancestors that walked before us, and all the wonderful elements of creation that exist. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation for sharing their traditional territory with us.
Thank you, Trustee Rocha. At this time, I'm going to ask if there are any possible declarations of conflict of interest. If so, please declare it now. Seeing none. Next, we're up to the agenda items. I'm going to ask Trustee Daniele, would you like to move a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Thank you. Yes, I would.
Trustee Amos, would you like to second this motion?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much.
Are there any discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda? I don't have access to see the approval list.
Carries unanimously.
Carries unanimously. Thank you so much. Are there any we've done that part already. Sorry. We're now up to 2.0, the annual organizational meeting. Now to the election of chair for the 2021-22 year. In accordance with the board's bylaw, I will now call for indications of interest in the position of chair by randomly drawing names of trustees. As names are drawn, each trustee will be given the opportunity to indicate their interest and/or indicate support for any other trustee candidate. Following this process, trustees who have confirmed their interest in the position of chair may speak to their candidacy for a period no longer than 3 minutes. Trustees will be offered the opportunity to speak in the order in which they have expressed interest. First is the election of chair. Guiding and helping us tonight will be Superintendent Gord Truffin and Associate Director Bogue as scrutineers. I just want to explain to everyone what will happen in case there are multiple votes. If more than 2 candidates are voted for, the candidate with the least number of votes will be dropped from the subsequent ballot. If there is a tie, names of candidates who are tied will be put in the ballot box with the successful candidate's name being drawn from the ballot box. At this time, I'm going to be pulling names randomly from the ballot box and asking trustees for their intention. You can hear all the rustling. Okay. First name is Trustee Collard.
Thank you for the opportunity, but I will decline. Thank you.
Trustee Oliver.
Thank you, Director, for this opportunity, but I will respectfully decline.
Trustee Amos.
Thank you very much. Not this year. Maybe in the future.
Trustee Daniele.
Thank you very much, but I will decline.
Sorry, Trustee Daniele, I did not catch that.
I'm sorry. I said thank you very much, but I will respectfully decline.
Thank you. Trustee Gerbens.
I would be honored to stand. Thank you very much.
Trustee L. Harrison.
Thank you for the opportunity. I will decline.
Trustee Reynolds.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. I decline.
Trustee Shuttleworth.
Thank you. This year, yes, I will be putting my name in the hat. Thank you very much. In the hat or the plastic bag with the drum roll.
You're on mute.
Trustee Garretts.
Thank you. I will respectfully decline.
Trustee Rocha.
Thank you for the opportunity, and it's a great honor to serve as chair, but I respectfully decline.
Trustee Gray.
Thank you for the opportunity. I would respectfully decline. Thank you.
Thank you, trustees, for declaring. At this time, I am going to ask if the two trustees who have indicated their interest would have, you now have an opportunity up to 3 minutes to speak in the order that you showed interest. So the first interest was Trustee Gerbens.
Thank you very much. And thank you for considering me again for the position of chair of the board. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve the board in this manner. In this role, I am offering consistency, effectiveness, efficiency, and demonstrated leadership. I've used my skills to improve board meetings and make voting and questioning more accessible for trustees and the broader community. We have adapted well to the remote meeting model, making it both efficient and accessible to the public. The reputation of this board within the province has grown due to the outstanding work of our staff, students in the community, and I have been proud and outspoken as spokesperson for the board. I recognize that my skills have grown in this area over my tenure, and other boards, educational organizations, and the media outlets have sought out my advice and perspective on governance and other education-related issues. I believe we have a strong team at the table, both in governance and in operations. I will continue to support cohesion among all members of this table, inner and outer ring, as I believe that it is the best for student achievement and well-being and the health of this system. Communication and relationship building are key elements for a cohesive team. We must also continue to build on the strong relationships with our education and government partners and with the broader community. I pride myself on being approachable and available for trustees to reach out at any time. And many of you have at all sorts of hours and places. I am a strong believer in listening to student voice, continuous improvement, and lifelong learning. And I encourage this around our table. We are in increasingly interesting times in this province and within our own board, and we have much work to complete. Now is not the time to change just for the sake of change. As always, my colleagues, I serve at the pleasure of the board. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you, Trustee Coupens. Trustee Shuttleworth, you now have the opportunity to make a statement up to 3 minutes.
All right. Thank you, Director Ennis. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to my aspirations in running for chair. I want to start off by saying thank you to both Tracy and Andrea for their wonderful leadership over the past 4 years. I'm not running for chair to fix or drastically change the direction of the board, but rather give it the different perspective and slant that a new leadership would bring. I aspire to be chair due to their guidance, wisdom, and direction, not in spite of it. There are great practices that have been brought to the table, which I would build upon and hopefully add my own strengths. I've taken the past year to think deeply about why I want to do what I want to do. I have thought carefully about the impact such a decision would have on my life. Would I have time? Could I be effective? Is it something I truly want to do? So I studied Robert's rules more carefully. I enrolled in courses focusing on the art and science of being a chair. I attended committees giving me a broader sense of all the purposes of the board. I reflected on the training we have taken, and I took on leadership roles in the multi-year plan and the director's performance review. Finally, I reflected on the time commitment, spoke to my family, and considered what I wanted. Through this reflection and deep thinking, I decided it was a good choice for me to make. When I think about what my commitments as chair would be, I think of empowerment, communication, relationship, and trusts. I want to create conditions for us all to shine. I know we are a team of great leaders with many different capacities, and I feel it's important to draw on the strengths that we all bring to the table. These are key facets of our board's success. Communication is key and important in organizing the productive group discussions we engage in for collective exploration and decision-making. Open lines of communication allow everyone to be in the know about what is happening in relation to the board table. Creating opportunities for
trustees, and we'll watch for 2 student trustees to vote. So I'm not sure, Director Ennis, would you want to give 3 minutes for this?
Thank you for the explanation, Superintendent Truffin. I'm going to ask if the trustees, are there any questions or clarification needed? Trustee Shuttleworth.
Thank you through Director, actually to you, Director. I'm trying to press the link and I don't know if it's just me. I'm right beside, so I click on it. Oh, and magically it worked that time. So never mind.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Shuttleworth. Any other questions or clarification? So I am
some significant testing today, trustees, so we should be good to go.
Thank you. I am going to allot 5 minutes of voting time for this, and I'm going to ask if every trustee would kindly email Superintendent Truffin and Associate Director Bogue to say that you have voted. Not how you have voted, but that you have voted. Simply tell them you have voted. Thank you. We are now in a 5-minute voting period.
Margot, your microphone is on.
Oh, thank you.
scrutineers, Associate Director Bogue, to confirm that you have received all votes.
Thank you, Director Innes. Both Associate Director Bogue and I received all votes for both the student trustees, and it matched 2, and both for the elected trustees, which it matched 11. Thank you, and we also appreciate you sending an email to us that you voted. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. So we do have the results. They are in. And at this time, I am pleased to report that the successful candidate for the chair of the Halton District School Board is now Chair Shuttleworth. Congratulations, Chair Shuttleworth, on receiving the vote for chair of the Halton District School Board for the next year.
Thank you.
I would like to thank scrutineers Bogue and Truffin for their work, and also want to thank everyone for their work. I want to thank Andrea Chair Grabentz for her leadership for the 2021 school year. Thank you for everything you have done in your leadership for the board. And at this time, I believe there is a virtual gavel that I'm supposed to pass over. So Chair Shuttleworth, at this time, I'm going to pass.
Andrea, you're above me. So is it you who has it, Director Ennis, or is it?
I'll pass it to you. I'll pass it to you.
So I'm going to grab it from there because that's where you are for me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I'll now turn it over to you.
Okay, so now this will be a rocky road because it's my first time, but I am going to go to the wonderful.
I believe.
Or you wanted me to speak?
No, so that's totally up to you, but I think that we need a motion.
As I said, rocky road. Here we go.
I believe there needs to be a motion to destroy the ballots electronically, of course.
Okay, yes, we need a motion to destroy the electronic ballots. May I have a mover?
Point of order, I believe that's at the end of the whole election, isn't it? For all of the ballots?
Yes.
I've got Manager Gordon Maker.
Yes, if I may. Sorry for the interruption. The resolution to destroy the ballots, Trustee Amos is correct. It's at the end of the process. Right now, basically what Chair Shuttleworth is charged with is running the election for vice chair. Now, she may very well enlist the support of the director in drawing the names out of the hat, because the whole process will be repeated with each trustee indicating their desire to run or not run.
Thank you, Manager Gortmaker. All right, so Director Ennis, will you refill your paper bag? And we will begin the declaration for running for vice chair, please.
I'll be happy to assist you, Chair Shuttleworth.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to call the trustee's name as I pull them randomly, and you may declare your intention at this time. Trustee Oliver.
Again, thank you for this opportunity, but I will respectfully decline.
Trustee Collard.
Thank you. I will decline.
Trustee Garretts.
Thank you. I will respectfully decline.
Trustee Rocha.
I too respectfully decline.
Trustee Gray.
I would respectfully decline. Thank you.
Trustee L. Harrison.
Thank you. I will, with honor, let my name stand. Thank you. Honor and gratitude.
Thank you. Trustee Reynolds.
Thank you. I decline.
Trustee Daniele.
Thank you. I also respectfully decline.
Trustee Gurbans.
Thank you. I will put all my support to Trustee L. Harrison. Thank you, and I'm declining.
Trustee Amos.
Thank you. Not at this time.
I believe I've called all the names. So we have at this point, General Manager, our Manager, Gordon Maker, we have only Trustee L. Harrison, who's put her name forward for Vice Chair.
May I suggest then that you offer congratulations to Trustee Harrison in being acclaimed to that role?
Trustee L. Harrison, you have congratulations to you on being claimed as the Vice Chair for the Halton District School Board, and you may also have this opportunity to say a few words, if you so choose.
Point of order, I believe the chair gets the opportunity to speak first before the vice chair.
We're winging it, Director Ennis. It's okay.
I will defer to Chair Shuttleworth.
Thank you, Vice Chair L. Harrison. And thank you, Director Ennis, for navigating those roads and rivers as we went through the process and came out the other end. I appreciate it. So thank you so much for the honor of supporting me and leading this fabulous group of people. My aim is for the board as a whole to fulfill its leadership role. Our responsibility is collective, and as chair, it is important to facilitate constructive and critical conversations that lead to informed decisions we will have to make. My aim is to ensure trustees, staff, and community continue to work together in a way that fosters mutual respect and trust. This will enable our decisions making to promote the commitments of our multi-year plan in an authentic and genuine way. I'm honored at the trust you give me to lead us into this year of hopeful and promising returns to normal. We have all new horizons ahead, and with the guidance and collaborative relationships we have created with our staff, community, and most importantly, our students, I know that Halton can continue to be seen as a leader in the Ontario public school system. Thank you so much. Vice Chair L. Harrison, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, thank you. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, one and all. When I think about the role of the vice chair, I think about four things, 4 C's. Connector of ideas, opportunities, and people. Consistency bringer on meetings, responses, processes. Communicator of our role, opportunities, challenges, decisions to build positive and trusting relationships and confidence in our system. And lastly, as a collaborator with all of you and many beyond, all people with diverse skills, interests, backgrounds, and approaches. As we go into this 4th quarter of our term, we are firing on all cylinders as a team. We've evolved practices and processes to get more interest-based, student, staff, and community-serving work accomplished. We've established new sub and standing committees. We have a collaborative committee agenda building model, which gives trustees leadership roles on the topics that they bring forward. When issues arise, we tackle them together. It's not time to rest. It's time to keep moving forward with purpose. We're living in a time where the pandemic has put a damper on many much-loved activities, and some of the imposed changes and restrictions have really felt defeating. But we're also living in a time where most anything is possible. This year, Captain Kirk truly went into space. I can now have a conversation through my wristwatch. Now, today I heard that we have the Tim Beebs, and I can see friends and relatives from around the world almost any time because of technology. More importantly, we're also living in a time where the spotlight is rightly on social and environmental justice. The truth is being told by Indigenous peoples, and people are listening and learning about ways to contribute to reconciliation. As we experience all of this, we and I have the honor and opportunity to embrace collaboration over competition, remain student-focused, continue to be a tireless advocate for public education and the HDSB in particular. I am so grateful to support this trustee team, staff, community, and the students of the HDSB. And I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. And I look forward to the next bunch of months.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Al Harrison. We will now need a motion to destroy the electronic ballots. Trustee Daniele, would you be happy to make this motion?
Yes, I will.
And Trustee Rocha, would you like to second it?
I would, thank you.
All right, so if you can all turn to your voting pages and cast your vote, yay or nay. Oh, haha. Trustee Grabantz. Oh, I can see it. I just have to find it. Will you please, Trustee Grabantz, just for right now, I don't have that in front of me. Will you let me know if it's carried or not?
I can do that as well.
Cool. Thank you.
There is one vote that's not here at the moment. And there it is. It carries unanimously.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vice Chair Al Harrison. All right, we are now up to our Inspire Awards. Tonight, we are honored to present the Halton District School Board Inspire Awards. Everyone in the Halton District School Board community can nominate or be nominated. Families, neighbors, related organizations, staff, students, and school volunteers. The Inspire Award is given to an individual or group that is formally or informally associated with the Halton District School Board, who support our students and their achievements through exemplary, caring, initiative, innovation, and creativity. Tonight, we have 2 awards to present. Award nominations were accepted through the June and the summer months. Trustee Al Harrison will run the presentation, which was created by Heather Francie in the Communication Department. Before each presentation, I will name the recipient and name the trustee presenting. Awesome. So first off is Caleb Smallinars from Robinson High School. And Trustee Grabantz will be recognizing Caleb.
So Caleb Smallinars is a student at Robinson High School. His peers describe him as a passionate advocate who stands up for students. Caleb has led many social justice initiatives in the community, including climate strikes at City Hall, a Fly the Pride flag open letter, and Students Say No campaign. Throughout his education, he has been actively involved in school life at the elementary and secondary level, helping with events and clubs, including organizing the HDSB Gay Straight Alliance GSA event in 2017 and leading the Spread the Net campaign and other clubs at school. Caleb's teachers describe him as passionate about his learning and helping his peers. Caleb's passion, compassion, and advocacy is an inspiration to his peers, staff, and the community. Congratulations, Caleb.
Thank you, Trustee Grabantz. Next, we will be honoring Brad Hetherington from Milton District High School, and Trustee Daniele will be presenting.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Brad Hetherington is a teacher at Milton District High School. Students describe him as an exceptional math teacher but also as someone who teaches kindness, patience, and inclusion by modeling it every day. Brad's passion for teaching is reflected in his lessons, and students and staff say his positivity and optimism is contagious. Outside the classroom, Brad leaves Wilderness North, a camping trip for students in grade 10, which almost every MD Mustang has experienced. Brad is an integral part of Milton District High School who inspires students and staff every day. Congratulations and thank you, Brad, for all that you do.
Thank you, Trustee Donnelly. Congratulations to our Inspire Award recipients for your outstanding support for Halton District School Board student achievement and well-being. A special thank you to Susan Thrasher in the Director's Office, who every month works to ensure trustees have all they need to assess nominees and provide a conduit of information. For everyone watching this evening, please continue to nominate people or organizations who support our students and their achievements through exemplary caring, initiative, innovation, and creativity. The nomination form is available on the hdsb.ca website. As per our agenda, we have one presentation this evening. And maybe we don't have a presentation.
Yeah, point of order. There's no presentation.
I'm sorry. So no presentation. We also have no delegations this evening, which brings us up to 4.0, the consent agenda items. Trustee Collard, would you like to move a motion to deal with the consent agenda?
Yes, thank you very much.
And Trustee Garrett, would you like to second that motion?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to put the motion on the floor. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the consent agenda action items and receive the information items for December the 1st, 2021. Are there any items from the consent agenda that anyone would like to pull or discuss? And I look to the speakers list, and I'll give it a couple of seconds. Seeing none, just to check, we have the minutes from November the 12th, November the 17th, as well as the order paper. Okay, seeing none, if you could turn to your voting sheet and cast your vote, please. And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much, everyone. So we are now up to approval of business transacted in private session. Vice Chair Al Harrison, do we have any business from private session that requires approval?
No, we don't. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We are now up to action items for December the 1st. As per the agenda, we have 6 action items this evening. First of all, 6.2.1 is the amendment for board bylaws regarding the elections of the chair and vice chair, report number 21149, presented by Trustee Rocha and Trustee Collard. Would anyone like, first of all, would anyone like to speak to this?
Chair Shuttleworth, I can give an intro.
Awesome. Thank you, Trustee Rocha.
So this item was first presented at the Committee of the Whole and was brought to the board at the last meeting. And per our bylaws, it's making its second appearance. Essentially, we have created wording to amend our bylaws in the case of there's an election and no one puts in their name for either chair or vice chair. So essentially, that's the only wording. If anyone has any questions, they can address them to myself or to Trustee Collard, who was the mastermind behind the wording change. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trustee Rocha. Are there any questions or comments? And I'm thinking of going backwards, but we're going to try this anyway.
Point of order. I believe you need to put the motion on.
I know. So I now need to put it on the floor. Thank you, Trustee Amos. Trustee Rocha, would you like to move this?
Absolutely. Thank you.
And
You actually have to read it first.
Oh, sorry. As I said, this is trial and error tonight. So be it resolved, the recommendation is as follows. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board amend Part 3, Officers' Elections of the Chair and Vice Chair, Paragraph 1 of its bylaws as outlined in Report 21149. Trustee Rocha, would you like to move this?
Yes, please.
And Trustee Collard, would you like to second it?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Again, quickly, any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you could turn to your voting tab and cast your votes, please. And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. This moves on to 6.2.2, and I'm actually going to pass the gavel over to Vice Chair L. Harrison as I am presenting this piece.
Thank you. Go ahead, Trustee Shuttleworth.
All right, so this motion came up at the last board meeting, again in our rules coming back twice. So we've all read it the last time around. And so this is just for confirmation. We were looking at the director's performance review policies and procedures. And if you recall, we combined the two policies into one umbrella policy that then covers both the procedures that are in place.
Thank you. I will put the motion on the floor. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board adopt the Director of Education roles and responsibilities governance procedure. Be it further resolved that the Halton District School Board adopt the Director of Education annual performance review governance procedure. Be it further resolved that the Halton District School Board adopt the Director of Education roles, responsibilities, and annual performance review policy. Be it further resolved that the Halton District School Board rescind the Director's Performance Review Policy. And be it further resolved that the updated policy and procedures be posted on the Halton District School Board website. May I just say that that last piece is an operational bit, the last be it resolved. So I wonder, Trustee Shuttleworth, if it's okay to let the motion stand without that last one.
Yes, of course it is.
Okay, so I will look to, would you like to move that motion?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Thank you. And Trustee Rocha, would you like to second that motion?
I would. Thank you.
Okay, super. Thanks very much. So I'll look to the speakers list. And I don't see anybody on there at the moment. So if people would kindly vote. And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. And I will return the gavel.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Harrison. And that brings us on to 6.2.3, SEAC Membership Report 21152, Superintendent. Oh, sorry. Trustee Garrett, would you like to move this?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much.
And
Point of order, you have to read the motion first.
Okay, I'm sorry. So be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the recommended appointment of Kathy Turner as the HDSB SEAC alternate representative for the Association Voice for Deaf and Hard of Hearing Children. Trustee Garrett, would you like to move this?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Trustee L. Harrison, would you like to second?
Yes, thank you.
Superintendent Ruddock, would you like to speak to this at all?
Thank you, through the chair to trustees. No, I don't need to add to the report, but happy to take any questions.
Okay, so looking to the speakers list, does anybody have any questions? Great, seeing none, I will turn to the voting pages and ask you all to cast your votes, please. And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We are now on to 6.2.4, Banking Resolutions Report number 21154. The recommendation is be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the Banking Resolution Authority to sign Appendix 1, Banking Resolution, Current Expenditures, Appendix 2, Banking Resolution, Education Development Charges, Appendix 3, and Banking Resolutions, Facsimile Signatures on Checks, Appendix 4. Trustee Gray, would you like to move this?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
And Trustee Amos, would you like to second?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much.
Would Superintendent Nagoy, would you like to speak to this at all?
Yes, thank you. And through you, Chair Board of Trustees, this is the annual report on the renewal of the banking resolutions in accordance with the Education Act, where the chair of the board and the treasurer of the board have to sign the 4 resolutions included in the appendices of this report. I just wanted to mention that our line of credit remains at $135 million. So there has been no recommended changes to the limit for our maximum credit. Neither has been any other changes throughout the other resolutions in terms of either limits or change in titles or staffing authority for approvals, delegated approvals. And I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to look to the speakers list to see if we have any questions. Seeing none, if you can turn to your voting sheet and cast your vote, please. I think we are waiting for one. Am I right? I see you counting.
They're all there.
They're all there. Thank you. And that carries unanimously. Thank you so much. We now move on to 6.2.5, Resolution for Corporate Credit Card Services, Report number 21155. I will read the recommendation. So be it resolved that the Halton District School Board is hereby authorized to enter into an agreement with Bank of Montreal to provide the board with credit by way of an account, under which arrangement the board may request that BMO issue cards on the account, and the board will be responsible for the payment of all amounts, including fees and interest charged to the account. The whole substantially on the terms and conditions set out in the draft corporate card agreement submitted to and hereby approved by the Board of Trustees. Be it resolved that the chair of the Halton District School Board and the superintendent of business services and treasurer are hereby authorized to sign the agreement with BMO substantially on the terms and conditions of the draft thereof approved by the board, with such changes or modifications as the person so signing may in their sole discretion deem appropriate, and to sign from time to time such other documents, agreements, amendments to, and restatements of the agreement, and to do such other things they in their sole discretion deem appropriate or advisable in connection with or give effect to such agreement and the program contemplated thereunder. Be it resolved, the execution and delivery of any other agreements, instruments, or documents ancillary or incidental to the documents referred to in this resolution, which may have been executed or delivered prior to the enactment of this resolution, regardless of the officer or any other employee of the board who executed such agreement, instrument, or document, and regardless of any informality in such execution or delivery, are hereby ratified, approved, and confirmed in all respects. Whew. Trustee Oliver, would you like to move this?
Yes, I'll move that motion.
And Trustee Reynolds, would you like to second this?
Thank you. I would like to second it.
Superintendent Nagoy, might you like to speak to this and explain it, please?
Absolutely. Thank you. And through the chair to all trustees, the wording of the recommendation has been provided to us by the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services as per their agreement. It is lengthy. I apologize. It is a requirement under their agreement when we use vendors of record from the provincial list. And in this case, for the Bank of Montreal, that provides the service for our corporate purchasing cards, to have such a resolution be approved by the board and signed by the chair and the treasurer of the board. Just a little background, we currently have a purchasing card program with the Bank of Montreal, but it's under the Ontario Education Collaborative Marketplace, OECM, which is coming to an end in May 2022, so we do not have an ability to extend. However, they are a vendor of record under the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services, which also is aligned with Supply Ontario and being using a collaborative provincial platform. So the recommendation today is to switch the contract from the OECM terms and agreement to the MGCS. It will not have any impact on the users of the card throughout our board. I can tell you that it's very similar in terms of the terms and the rebate. Actually, the rebate is a little higher based on volume than what we've had under the current term. So that's the good news to this. And as soon as this is approved by the trustees and signed, it will be in our best interests to switch over probably as early as late December, beginning of January to this particular contract and terms and the higher rebate as well. And I'd be happy to take any questions trustees may have.
Thank you, Superintendent Nagoy. I look to the speakers list. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns for Superintendent Nagoy regarding this motion, please? Seeing none, if you could please cast your votes. Thank you. And that carries unanimously. Thank you so much. We are now up to 6.2.6, the Declaration of Identity and Human Rights Week, Report 21156. And the recommendation as it stands, be it resolved that the Halton District School Board declare December 6th to the December 10th, 2021 as Identity and Human Rights Week. Trustee Oliver, would you like to move that motion?
Yes, I would like to move that motion.
And Trustee Dinelli, will you like to second that motion?
Thank you. Yes, I would.
Trustee Oliver, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you. It's my pleasure to speak to this motion and the report. The Human Rights Day is observed every year on December 10, the day the United Nations General Assembly adopted in 1948 the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a milestone document which proclaims the inalienable rights that everyone is entitled to as a human being, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, language, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. The slogan for this year's Human Rights Day is all human, all equal. On Thursday, December 9 and Friday, December 10, aligning with Human Rights Day, the Halton District School Board will host the Human Rights Symposium to engage in vital conversations and challenge educator and student thinking. This is the third annual Human Rights Symposium, and it is focused on identity and human rights, which will explore how intersecting identities impacts one's access to and enjoyment of human rights. The work underway at the HDSB serves to remind us all how we can take action in our daily lives to uphold the rights that protect us all. And before I pass it on to my fellow trustee reps, I would like to acknowledge with gratitude and respect the great work of the HDSB Human Rights Symposium 2021 Steering Committee. Over to you, Trustee Dinelli.
Thank you very much. I would just like to speak to the symposium itself. The symposium will be featuring keynote speakers, Janice Makokas, who is a legal scholar, lawyer, mother, Indigenous consultant, as well as Spencer West, an international speaker, content creator, best-selling author, world change warrior, and activist and social media influencer. They will both be touching on their lived experiences, their identities, barriers they have faced, and ways in which we can all be allies. This year's symposium will be a virtual event for HDSB students, grades 7 to 12 and staff. On December 9th and 10th, all grade 9 to 12 students, both in person and virtual, will participate in the Human Rights Symposium and hear both keynote speakers Janice McCulcus and Spencer West in their classrooms. Grades 7 and 8 students will also be invited to participate. Leading up to the symposium, there will be much time spent speaking and teaching about the importance of identity and how it shapes our worldviews, and also how we experience the world around us. We've been encouraging schools to establish a call to action through their equity and well-being teams. And identity is a fundamental human right and encompasses various ways that an individual is recognized and asserts their existence in society. And the teaching leading up to and beyond this symposium is being done in the classrooms. This critical aspect of identity is the acknowledgement of intersectionality and the ways that various voices identify, work together to contribute to one's uniqueness. So very, very proud to be a member of the steering committee, and I join Trustee Oliver and I know Chair Shuttleworth in thanking the steering committee for all the work that they have done on this. It will be an excellent symposium.
Thank you, Trustee Dinelli and Trustee Oliver, being part of this committee. I know the hard work that's gone into this, and I do echo Trustee Dinelli's thanks and appreciation for all the staff and all the tireless work they did on this. I'll now turn to the speakers list to see if anybody has any questions or comments they would like to make. All right, seeing none, I will ask you please now to turn to your ballot and cast your vote, please. Thank you so much, and that carries unanimously. We are now up to communication from the board in 7.1, the student trustee report. Trustee Vigilankara and Trustee Bao, do you have a report for us this evening?
Through the chair, yes, we do. Good evening, everyone. Happy December. I can't believe the year is almost over. So since the last board meeting, we have not had a student senate meeting yet. However, we have been keeping busy in the meantime. Trustee Bao and I, along with our two of our elementary student senators, Zaid Limbada and Anson Jang, participated in a video summarizing and bringing awareness to the new dress code AP. We viewed the draft of this and it looks really great so far. So we look forward to having it out for students and families to view hopefully very soon. Last Thursday, we held an optional meeting for student senators interested in helping us polish our Senate norms. And we'll have one last meeting tomorrow at 4:30 for interested senators to join and wrap up our work. I don't know why I said 4:30, that was not needed. Soon, Trustee Bao and I will be establishing our Student Senate Executive Committee as well as our subcommittees. We plan on introducing our Executive Committee at our next Student Senate meeting on December 14th. And as always, we will share a meeting link with trustees, and you're more than welcome to attend our meeting and pop in if you can. We would also like to extend the invitation to any superintendents who may be interested in popping in and observing. We can share the link with you as well. With that, I'll pass it off to Trustee Bao.
Thank you, Trustee Vigilankara. So in terms of the new semester model, we also want to bring to your attention the student perspective on the board's decision to switch into the regular semester model for secondary schools this week. As soon as the announcement went out, we heard from lots of students about their concerns ranging from disruption to learning, inconvenience to switch in the middle of the semester, lack of consistency, preference to switch in February, and negative toll on mental health. In particular, there was a concern surrounding the lack of student consultation. Last Tuesday, we met with the HCSB Director of Education to discuss the recent announcement to return to regular semesters. We expressed concerns regarding the decision to change the model the week following the announcement. We raised the main concerns, and we also shared the student feedback and perspectives we received regarding the changes to the director. For example, screenshots of student responses to surveys. We asked why student voice wasn't included in the decision-making process. And the director acknowledged that student voice should have been involved in the decision-making process and committed to involving at minimum student trustee consultation on operational matters where appropriate. So our takeaway is, as we shared with Director Ennis, looking forward, we would appreciate being consulted on matters, including operational decisions which affect students. Now, something Trustee Vigilankara and I are very excited to get started on is posting and sharing our student trustee report recaps on our HCSB Instagrams. We were inspired by our coterminous student trustees from the Toronto District School Board that have started a series on their Instagrams called Bridging the Gap. Essentially, we want to bring the boardroom to students in an accessible and concise manner, taking into consideration that not all students have 3 hours to spare to listen to boardroom discussions. Many of our students use us as one of their sources for board information and updates, and something that we have found is that there can be a gap between what students think we do and what exactly the student trustee position actually entails. By posting our report recaps, we hope that students are able to better understand our roles and what we've been working on in between our board meetings. Through this, students can be kept informed about what is happening at the board level and also bring more attention to our board YouTube channel. Thank you for listening to our student trustee report, and we are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Trustee Bao and Trustee Vigilankara. I'm turning to the speakers list to see, does anybody have any questions or comments for our two student trustees? Seeing none, I would like to encourage everyone to try to make it out to the student senates. I have to say, every time I go, I am always inspired by all the amazing thinking that's going on within all of our students and the ideas that they bring forth. So it's a real nice sort of energizer if anybody wants to make it out. So I will appreciate and look forward to the invitation. Thank you so much, Trustee Vigilankara and Trustee Bell. We are now up to action items, but there are no action items for December 15th. we are now also 7.3 is information reports, and I don't think we have any of those either. So that brings us up to notions of motion. I am wondering if any of the trustees have notions of motions for this evening. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. All right, I see none. So moving on to our director's report. Director Ennis, would you like to present your report to us, please?
Thank you very much, Chair Shuttleworth, and congratulations again. This evening, I would like to ask Superintendent Taha if he would be kind enough to give us a vaccination compliance update.
Good evening. Thank you, Director Ennis. Through you, Chair Shuttleworth, to the rest of the board. Very brief update on our vaccination numbers to date. These numbers are as of this morning. Overall, we're holding steady in terms of our overall vaccination rates for our entire district. We are at 89.8%, just a hair under 90%. That's for the overall vaccination rates district-wide. In terms of our permanent employees, our vaccination rates are at 95.4%. So our permanent staff are 95.4% vaccinated. In terms of the employees who are in the rapid testing compliance program, we are managing 500 employees who are either affirmed they are unvaccinated or they have not disclosed the status. So for the purpose of this policy or this procedure, they are considered unvaccinated. That's 514 employees, 300 of whom are permanent employees. To date, much of our efforts have been focused on the compliance piece of the rapid testing. To date, we have placed 49 employees on a leave of absence for non-compliance. However, all but 3 have been returned and are in a compliance status. That's permanent employees that I'm referring to. And another 500 employees who are casual employees are also in a non-compliance status. They are not available to accept casual work in our district. So overall, we're holding steady, and our rates are either in line with other boards or above other boards. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Taha. I will look to the speakers list to see, does anybody have any questions? All right, I'm seeing that I have one little, I'm not going to say it, I have one question. I'm just wondering, do we see that number of 514 employees changing, or do we think that's going to remain 514 for the people who are in the rapid testing protocol? Like, do we see it moving?
Through you, Chair Shuttleworth, to the rest of the board. At this point, we've been holding around that number, give or take, plus or minus 20 above, 20 below, for the last several weeks. And these numbers, they're not necessarily the exact same individuals as people enter and exit the workforce. But we're, from a percentage point of view, I suspect we'll be holding around that number in terms of managing rapid testing. The vaccination rates for school boards are hovering around between 90 and 95%. So if it holds to form, I don't see that number changing, to be honest. I hope it does, but I don't see any signs of that in terms of individuals rushing to being vaccinated, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that was. Thank you very much. Trustee Oliver has a question.
Thanks. Through Chair to Superintendent Taha. Just a clarification, please, on the number of staff on the leave of absence. I believe you said 49, and of those 3 have returned. Okay, so individuals who are placed on leave of absence are those who are not vaccinated and do not want to participate in the rapid testing compliance strategy, shall we say, correct? Okay, so 49 were placed, 3 are back on. So 46 are still on leave of absence. And are these permanent?
So the number, the 49, as I pointed out in my comments through you, Chair Shuttleworth, to Trustee Oliver and rest of trustees, since this requirement has began, much of our efforts have been focused on the compliance aspect of rapid testing. So to date, 49 employees have been in a non-compliant status at some point or another. In other words, the requirements were 2 rapid tests per week. And obviously, as of November 10th, it was 3 rapid tests per week. So through various progressive responses, some employees have not been in compliance with that requirement. And as I pointed out, it's not 1 test every other week. It's as the requirements set out. So once they've reached the last stage of the response, and that is we have given you several warnings to be in compliance, the next response is to place you on leave of absence. So these individuals, these 49 employees, permanent employees, have been placed on leave of absence, but since have been returned from leave because now they are in compliance. They have now upheld the requirements. All but 3 of them have been returned. So actually 46 are back and 3 remain on unpaid leave.
All right, thank you, Trustee Oliver and Superintendent Taha. I look over and I see no other names on the list. Is that the end of your piece of the report, Superintendent Taha?
Yes.
Or Director Ennis?
Thank you, Chair Shuttleworth. And I want to just congratulate Superintendent Taha and his team for doing a marvelous job in tracking our employees and just the compliance pieces. And I want to say congratulations to our staff who have really had a strong vaccination rate and are in compliance, as Superintendent Taha says, from our permanent employees, all but 3. So this is great news to be celebrated. I'm going to ask Superintendent Blackwell if she would speak to our COVID testing kits for students during the winter break.
Thank you, Director Ennis. And through the chair, the new chair, to trustees, you'll recall that we spoke about rapid antigen tests. So these are the tests for asymptomatic individuals. We have received those tests on site within our board, 1 per every student in our board. So I believe we have something like 66,000 tests at one of our holding sites right now. We'll be distributing those to schools over the next week or so. And every student will receive a testing kit. And this is the rapid antigen test that has 5 tests in it to use over the holidays. We've just received communication from the Ministry of Education that supports, obviously developed with public health, that supports the use of the test, and it provides some guidance for families in how to administer the test. So we will be sending that guidance home with the tests with all of our students and just before the end of classes. The other thing is that we recognize that we have remote learners, and so we will add tests to each homeschool so that remote learners who would like to access those tests would have access to them. We know that we have schools, for example, an Oakville school where the remote learning class might be in Halton Hills. So we would ask students to go to the school in their area to pick that up, just to make it more accessible for families. And that's the update for today.
Thank you, Superintendent Blackwell. Trustee Collard, I see you have a question.
Thank you. Yes, you probably see my name on there twice because I was having a glitch. Through you to the director, I'm curious about these rapid tests. Will they be available in multiple languages? We have families new to Canada in our board that perhaps cannot speak either English or French and may need translations into other languages.
Please respond, Superintendent Blackwell.
Through the chair to Trustee Collard, it's, I think, part of the The materials that were provided to us by the ministry assume that that would be the case. Right now, they're trying to turn them around very quickly. As you can imagine, they're going to every student across the province. One of the documents has visuals and directions, so we have not received any other languages at this time, but having seen the materials, which we will have printed to our print shop and get them out to schools, the guidance and the guidelines around that will be available. And then we'll also post it on our website and communicate so that if Google Translate is needed or a translation opportunity will be available for them electronically.
Thank you very much. And regarding compliance, if I may ask another question, regarding compliance, how will we monitor compliance and what would the steps be if there wasn't compliance?
So through the chair to Trustee Collard, in terms of compliance, are you referring to not using the tests over the break?
Yes.
So this is totally a voluntary initiative. These are provided to every student. It is an option. Families may choose to use them. Families may choose not to use them. The guidance and the direction from the ministry we also have for January when we return. We have some extensive measures back in place. Families will be required to, younger students, they'll be required to sign off on the daily screening. So there will be some enhanced measures as well as they return from break. We anticipate that because of the non-intrusive nature of the rapid antigen test, that people will welcome the opportunity to keep their families safe over the break and then return as well.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Trustee Collard. And glitches are allowed tonight. They help me actually. So Trustee Garrett, you're next on the list, please.
Thank you so much. My translation question was asked and answered.
Great. Thank you very much. Trustee Oliver.
Thank you through your chair to Superintendent Blackwell. I believe you stated that there are 5 tests per kit. And I'm wondering if you can elaborate a little bit on what is the intended purpose and use, like what will be the instructions to the students? What can families anticipate?
So thank you through the chair to Trustee Oliver. We do have a 2-week break. We do have a community that is very interested in what this new testing strategy is. So I think part of it is delineating what this test is versus what a test would be in terms of somebody that's symptomatic. We have many families that would be very aware of what a rapid antigen test is, and we would have many that would not be aware at all. So this is, again, for asymptomatic students, and they would be able to use that test throughout the holidays. The requirement or the period or suggested period of use is also provided for families. So a lot of guidance, again, through Public Health Ontario in consultation with the ministry, and also sharing suggested use in terms of the time frame between the test use. So some families may have quite a few tests available for them. It also talks about what to do should a test show positive, and then provides further guidance and information for families as well.
Thank you, Trustee Oliver. As of right now, there are no further questions. So Director Ennis, would you like to move on to your next item, which is return to traditional semester model for secondary school students?
Thank you, Chair Shuttleworth. Just wanted to say thanks to all those who have been advocating for a return to our traditional semester model for secondary schools. I know former Chair Gebrents was a fierce advocate with the Minister of Education around this topic. And certainly when we decided that we were going to be using the modified semester model, it was on the premise that we would be able to pivot really quickly. And so that opportunity came forward as the ministry gave us the opportunity to go back to the traditional semester model with, of course, the support of our local public health unit. We were one of the first, or few to date, one of the few boards across the province who have done so in such an expeditious manner. So far, we have receiving very positive reports from our schools. This, of course, being the first week that we are experiencing this. Keeping in mind that many of our students, for them, this is their first time for about a half of our students that they are experiencing this traditional model. So we've asked our superintendents and to speak and to support all of our schools, our secondary schools, to make sure that they're being patient with our students, that they're giving them the wraparound service and support, so that they are given the opportunity to transition to a model that many are not familiar with. But so far, we're getting very good reports from the field, and so we're quite pleased with that. As Trustees Vidal-Ankara and Trustee Bao said, they had some concerns, and there were some students who were concerned, and so we had an opportunity to sit down and to talk. And so I've made some concessions around future undertakings that may involve students, and how we are going to make sure that student voice is a part of those conversations where appropriate, as Trustee Bao said. And we are going to make sure that our students are being successful. That is our first priority. And so far, things are going quite well. So we know that we'll never have 100% support for any model that we choose, but we think that this was the best model because we heard from our students and our families and our staff that they wanted to go back to this as quickly as possible. And so I think we have the capacity to make sure that we do this well. So I'm very pleased with the reports that I'm receiving so far. And if there are any questions, I'll take them.
Thank you, Director. Does anybody have any questions regarding the return to regular semester model for Director Ennis? Oh, Trustee Oliver.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to Director Ennis. I know that some students were concerned about their co-op placement and hours and whether that was going to work out okay given the change to the regular semester system. I imagine there are no issues, but can you please speak to that and let us know if there are any concerns for those in co-op or doing apprenticeship programs?
Thank you, Trustee Oliver, and through the chair. We certainly spoke about that as a senior team. We recognize that many students and their families absolutely loved the modified semester model because it afforded them the opportunity to attend their co-op on a weekly basis. And that was something that families truly enjoyed, and the students themselves. So I heard from a number of students on that front, but we spoke as a senior team. And I was assured through the senior team and through their administrators that they're taking every step necessary to make sure that students and their co-op placement will not be affected by the change back to the regular. Of course, it will mean an impact to the students' lives and how they adapt to this particular new model. But we are ensuring that they're going to be getting all of their co-op, their credits, and they will not be impacted negatively in any way by this switch.
Thank you. There are no other questions, but Director Ennis, I do have one. You spoke of concessions. I'm just with the student trustees in moving forward in these decisions, I'm just wondering what types of things you're looking at doing to sort of ensure that student voice is heard in these decisions.
So we spoke about, making sure that items that impact student and student decision making, it's one of the conversation we had, was to ensure that the students, we asked students how, what the impact on them will be. We understand that there are sometimes difficulty in even, Trustee Vidal-Ankara and Trustee Bao presented some data to us that there is often not consensus among the students about, which direction we should take. And so even the survey that they did around the model, they had a three-way split on from student body about what they would prefer. And so, so one of the concession, of course, is to make sure that wherever possible and where appropriate, that we are presenting students with the opportunity to share their voice. I think that's an important part of the work that we do, and I truly believe in that. And so that's one of the greatest concessions I think that we can make. I think we need to have more student voice, not less.
I agree. And I'm just wondering quickly, sort of a quick follow-up, would you do that through the Senate or would you do it through the schools?
So through the student trustee and and their leadership in the Senate, that's certainly the avenue which we would take.
Great. Thank you so much. Trustee Vigilankara, sorry.
I'm sorry, the form never really works for me. Through the chair to the director, I just had a question about whether, I know we discussed previously that there might be like another communication going out, but I wasn't sure if there was plans for another communication explaining the decision, or at least like clarifying. I wasn't sure if that was something you're going forward with. And I guess just like for context, I realize not everyone was involved in that conversation. I guess just like in future, maybe making things a bit clearer for students, because I don't think, although I understand that the original intention with the modified semester was that we could switch immediately, I'm not sure that it was clear to students, especially when we were first notified that we could change into this model. So I think communication was a big piece that we talked about as being maybe an area of improvement in the future.
Duly noted.
Great. Thank you so much, Trustee Vigilankara and Director Ennis. And that moves us on to your second to last piece, which is the public meeting regarding student voices and experiences on racism.
Thank you so much, Chair Shuttleworth. By this time, most, if not all of you have heard that tomorrow we will be having a public conversation about student voices and experience with racism. Just for context, as you know, previous Director Miller had committed that we were going to be hearing from students in high school about their experiences around racism, hate, and discrimination, and that we would at some point collate this information and present it back to the board and the community in a report. And so this report will be going out the report has been published now publicly, and now we will be speaking with the community and some community agencies tomorrow evening. So we have presented it to our families of schools. We have presented it high level to our union partners, to our trustees high level, and so to our student. We have our student Senate presentation that's coming up, and so we are trying to make sure that we hit as many of our stakeholders as possible to share this information with them, of course, with an eye to make sure that we improve the conditions for our students in our schools so that they can know when they go to school that they belong, that they matter, and that they can be in an environment that supports their identity and their well-being. So we are very hopeful that working together with our community partners and all the stakeholders, all of our staff in our schools, that we'll be able to move forward in a positive way on this front. I think it is something we have to embrace. I think we cannot shy away from it because we've heard the voices of the students and we must honor it.
Thank you, Director Ennis. I couldn't agree more. I think it's so important that we face these challenges head on. Do we have any questions or comments from any of the trustees? All right, thank you very much. Seeing none, we are now on to your final piece, the other.
Thank you so much, Chair Shuttleworth. The other, I'm going to ask Superintendent Nagoy if she could speak to Burlington Taxi.
Thank you, and through you, Chair Shuttleworth, to all trustees. Just a quick update on the situation for Burlington Taxi. As you have heard already, Burlington Taxi has ceased operations as of last Friday. And we were informed just earlier that week, which of course has created quite a bit of challenge for our staff in trying to find alternate mode of transportation for about 35 students between our board and the coterminous board, which the Halton Student Transportation Services covers. For us, these particular students have particular challenges that require individual transportation. We are not able to offer transportation for them in a school bus, even though we may have capacity. Our school bus operators do not have the ability to hire additional drivers and additional vehicles for individual transit for students for these programs. As a result, our general manager of transportation has been working with the city staff to try to work around the current bylaw, and the city staff have provided in writing that they suspended the enforcement of the bylaw, whereby other taxi companies were not allowed to conduct business within the city limits. So we were able to provide transportation to all of our students through taxi companies from Oakville and Hamilton, as well as a couple of minivan transportation. Staff through the director have drafted a joint letter with the coterminous board and forwarded to the mayor and the city council for their special meeting that was last night to just identify the challenges that we have with such a short notice and no taxi service for our students. We are not able, under safety standards, to use Uber or Lyft, which are not licensed or regulated for vulnerable screening. So for us, that really is leaving us in a bind. However, our letter was included in the package for the city council and considered, and I understand that they have made an amendment to the bylaw to allow for a temporary measure for the next couple of years, whereby on a first-time basis, taxi companies or owners are able to apply for a license. And over the next 2 years, they will be working on a study to determine the amendments to the current bylaw that they may put in place. So we do have a temporary solution over those couple of years, and in the meantime, until those licenses are filled, at which point in time we'll have to reach out to those license holders to have an agreement with them. We'll provide more information to trustees when we get to that stage. We'll be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Superintendent Nagoy. Trustee Reynolds, you have a question.
Thank you. I guess I just have a comment and a question. So, as a 25-year Burlington resident, I was really sad to hear the news last week about Burlington Taxi closing. I'm certainly grateful to them for their years of service to our community, but also to our board, and all the things that they do for our community, the many initiatives that they've done. So I'm really also grateful to our staff and the Transportation Consortium to look at a short-term solution to this situation we find ourselves in. And I'm grateful too that there will be some amendments that have put the bylaw, righted the bylaw really, so that we can hopefully attract new transportation businesses to our community. But that said, I'm just wondering, using the out of city limit transportation services, would they have any impact, either financial or even timeliness, to getting our students back and forth to school?
Superintendent Nagoy.
I'm sorry, the timeliness?
Sorry. Let me rephrase that. I was wondering whether there was any financial impacts for using these services, or was there, because they're out of city limit services, is there any risk to our students not getting to school on time?
Thank you. Financially, there might be some additional charges because they might be longer trips. I don't expect that to be significant at all. So it's not something that we have materialized. In terms of timing, no, we're not concerned. We do have the schedule for when the student's program starts and ends, and therefore that is being passed on to the taxi company who are assigning the driver. So they take the appropriate amount of time to ensure the students get to their programs on a timely manner.
Okay, thank you for the update.
Great, thank you very much, Trustee Reynolds and Superintendent Nagoy. I see no other questions, so thank you very much.
And thank you for your patience, everyone. I'm almost finished. Just two more items. Just want to recognize our itinerant resource teacher, Christine Vanderwall, who received the Prime Minister's Award. And so we say congratulations to Christine on her teaching career. She was nominated because of her work at Viola Desmond. Of course, now she's working with us on a board-wide level, and we are tremendously in gratitude for her knowledge and just her enthusiasm and depth of instruction that she brings with her. So please join me in congratulating Christine. Also, my last commentary will be to say that after 25 years with the Halton District School Board and 30 years with school boards, I received the retirement letter from Gail Gortmaker, our office manager. And I want to say congratulations to Gail on the next phase of her journey. Gail, thank you so much for everything you have done for the board and for education. And we will truly miss you.
Manager Gortmaker, did you want to say a couple of things?
Thank you all. I mentioned in my letter to the director that every board, this one included, has been made up of people who truly had students' ambitions and their achievements at the heart of every decision that was made. So thank you all for allowing me to be part of that and contribute to the board's success over the years. That has meant a lot. So thank you, every one of you.
Thank you so much, Manager Gortmaker, and we still have you for another month, so be ready for lots of questions from me. All right, Director Ennis, is that the end of your director's report?
That concludes my director's report for this evening. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much. We're now on to communication from the chair, and Prior Chair Grabantz and myself were the co-chairs of the director's performance goals, and I'm going to pass it over to Trustee Grabantz and Luna to walk us through the goals or the next steps.
Yes, thank you. My dog may pop over my shoulder here. Thank you very much. And Chair Shuttleworth and I were co-chairs on the director's performance review. And so I'm just going to put up the process here. Since Director Ennis just began in August, we of course had a condensed version because there wasn't really the director evaluation portion to do. So we worked with Director Ennis to start working, getting some goals in order, and we met as a committee. Well, actually, Director Ennis first brought a set of goals. Well, we had a meeting, Chair Shuttleworth and I and the director, and then the director developed goals. We had a meeting with the whole committee who provided some feedback on the draft goals, and then the director reformed those, well, took the feedback and formed the goals that are in front of you now. And we'll be asking the rest of the trustees, or we would like to put a motion on the floor to approve these goals so that they can be distributed on our website.
So Trustee Grabantz, would you like to put that motion on the floor?
Absolutely, Chair Shuttleworth, I would.
Awesome. And do we need a seconder for this? Yes. Vice Chair Harrison, would you like to second that motion?
Yes, I sure would. And will you read that motion?
I will.
Awesome.
Just
Can I
Sure.
suggest the motion?
Yes,
It's
please.
just be it resolved that the Board of Trustees accept and approve the goals provided by the goals for
The Director's
2020
Performance Review.
for the Director's Performance Review for the 2021-2022 school year.
Great. So, Trustee Harrison, you will second that, please. Thank you. Do we have any discussion? So those goals were circulated prior to this meeting for your reevaluation, if you want to look at them. So did anybody have any questions or comments?
There are some people on the speakers list.
Oh, there are. So my speakers list is not updating. So Vice Chair Harrison, can you man that for me right now? It just says Trustee Reynolds, which was from before.
Trustee Amos.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Through you, I would like to thank the director for the conversation that we had at Committee of the Whole and listening to our thoughts and what should be included. And I found it a very comprehensive document. So thank you very much for doing that and pulling together all of our thoughts as well as what you had thought would be the basis of. But I found it very comprehensive. So thank you very much, Director Innes.
All right, thank you so much, Trustee Amos. I see you now, so I do not see any further speakers on the speakers list. Great, so we're all updated. All right, so if you can turn to your voting sheet, please, and cast your votes on supporting the director's goals for the 2021-22 academic year, please. I count one missing. Yes. Trustee Vigilankara.
Trustee Vigilankara had to leave.
Oh, okay, great. So then that passes unanimously. Thank you so much. All right, further communications from the chair. We have 3 letters from other school board districts, Avon-Maitland, Upper Grand, and the Halton District School Board regarding the capital project funding. They are all attached, and we are now moving on to 7.7, which is committee reports. There are 2, the Parent Involvement Committee report and the Environmental Management Committee. I am assuming they have been submitted, but I didn't know if anybody wanted to speak to either of these reports.
I could just speak to the PIC report. It is as you see before you, and I am happy to, along with Trustee Amos and Trustee Rocha, the 3 of us are happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Trustee Gray. I'm looking to the speakers list, and on mine, there are none. So thank you very much. The other is the Environmental Management Committee. I didn't know if anybody wanted to speak to this.
Chair Shuttleworth, I submitted that report. Everything's in it. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Great, thank you so much, Trustee Rocha. Still, again, looking at the speakers list, I am seeing none. And that moves us on to trustee questions and comments. Do any trustees have any questions or comments they would like to raise at this time? Trustee Collard.
Sorry, I didn't expect to be first. So I'm just following up on the issue of masking. I continue to receive emails about masking, and I was wondering if we could get an update regarding any direction from public health on masking. Through you to Director Ennis.
Director Ennis.
Thank you so much, Trustee Collard. Through the chair, I'm going to ask Superintendent Blackwell and Superintendent Taha if they would speak to this. Superintendent Blackwell, why don't you go first?
Sure. Through the chair to Trustee Collard. At this time, there is no update or change in direction from Halton Region Public Health. N95 masks are for specific medical, working with students that have specific medical generating procedures, aerosol medical generating procedures. Halton Region is very much aware of our PPE and all the other protocols that we are using. And at this time, they have only recommended N95 for those unique situations.
Thank you very much. Superintendent Taha, did you have anything to add?
Through you, Chair Shuttleworth, to Trustee Collard, no any further information to add. The PPEs that we are currently provided are deemed adequate, and as I pointed out at the last meeting, any requests for these respirator masks have been considered on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you very much for that. May I ask a follow-up?
Yes, you may.
I would like to know how often you speak with public health so that we're getting the most recent and up-to-date information.
I'd like to answer that one on behalf of Superintendent Blackwell. She speaks to them every day. But go ahead, Superintendent Blackwell.
Okay.
We do have formal meetings weekly, and so we communicate quite often. But those significant issues, definitely we talk about weekly.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your work on this.
Thank you so much. Trustee Oliver.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to my fellow trustees, I'd like to bring something to your attention. And certainly Vice Chair L. Harrison and our staff will be able to provide further detail and elaboration. This is regarding an unfortunate error that occurred by OFSA, whereas a spot in OFSA was offered to the AA girls basketball team from Thomas A. Blakelock High School in Oakville. This team was offered the spot and believed that they were going off into OFSA championship. And just prior to a final game, they were informed that the spot was in fact given to them in error, and that they would not be proceeding to OFSA. So as you can imagine, very unfortunate error, very upsetting for the team, the school community, the coaches, the staff, the parents. And, to me, I feel terrible for this team. So I was compelled to bring it to your attention. I do have some questions for clarification once we get the conversation going. And I do see an opportunity to seek some resolution and to get some clarification, explanation, and to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So I do have a motion prepared that I'd be happy to tweak or take whatever steps necessary. But I'll pass it on to Vice Chair Harrison if she would like to comment further. And then, of course, I invite staff who are very familiar with this to give us some more info. Thank you.
Vice Chair L. Harrison, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Thank you. Sure. And thanks, Trustee Oliver, for raising this at the board table. From my perspective, this is a situation where
some adults made a mistake and did not own that error and correct it. And students, unfortunately, are the ones that have suffered as a result. I understand that the OFSA organization has a constitution and bylaws which must be upheld. However, I really feel that this scenario warranted some creative thinking and problem solving, and that didn't take place. And I also would like to thank our staff that advocated for this this situation to be fixed, and unfortunately it wasn't. I also want to let you know that Superintendent Blackwell and I had the opportunity to meet with the wonderful coaches and just outstanding students who also advocated on their behalf and were very eloquent in the way that they managed this situation that was put upon them. We met with them today and we shared our congratulations for what was a wonderful, wonderful season. This would have been the first time in TA Blakelock history that a girls basketball team made it to OFSA. So the disappointment was perhaps even more biting. I also want to say that it was not just one thing that happened, it was a series of things, including the shipment of OFSA clothes that the school received with an asterisk that said, this goes to the problem team. And TA Blakelock was not the problem. So I would just like to sort through whether this is an operational thing or whether trustees can write a letter to somebody to ensure that this never happens again. I know a formal apology has been written. However, it did not speak to rectifying the issue for the future. So I believe that's all I have to say. I'd be happy to support the motion if through conversation that's the direction we want to go.
Thank you, Vice Chair Al Harrison. Associate Director Bogue, did you want to make some, through the director, are there any questions or comments that staff would like to make?
Superintendent Barnes or I would be happy to answer questions if trustees have them. I think Trustee Oliver and Trustee Al Harrison have explained the situation around an error made and the impact on some of our girls for sure. I would just say I wasn't aware this was the first time that the girls would have gone to OFSA, but I understand that the team this year was mainly grade 11, so we do have some hope for next year. Hopefully all those girls are back again and may get there next year. But Superintendent Barnes and I are happy to answer any questions that trustees have got.
Thank you so much. Trustee Gray has her hand up.
Yes, thank you very much. I have had, through my experiences prior to being a trustee in Halton District School Board, lots of experience with OFSA, and lots of experience with regional championships and so on and so forth. OFSA on their website states that they are a leader in the development of the student well-being. They say that their mission is to foster student success and enrich education through school sport. Their values are leadership, respect, integrity, equity, diversity, and resilience. Through the example provided today, I have extreme concerns for the fact that though it's been told to us that they are following their constitution and playing regs perhaps, they do not seem to be living up to their vision or their mission or their values. And so I'm not fully aware of the motion that will be put on the floor by Trustee Oliver at this time. However, I would support further communication on this issue with OFSA. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gray. Trustee Al Harrison, I think your hand's up again.
It is. Yes, I do have a follow-up comment to make. And it was on there actually for another topic as well, just to follow up with Trustee
Oh,
Collins.
sorry.
But that's okay. I would just point out that it's my understanding that the school that represented this area is an independent school, and then that is a highly unique scenario that the league and OFSA is fostering public school sport and well-being, and therefore, not to take anything away from that team, but I also do wonder about sort of how that all fits in with the mandate of the organization and the leagues that people are assigned to. So if we go down the road of tackling this, either staff or through something that we do, I'm wondering if whether that's another consideration that needs to be made. And that is a question to staff.
Through the chair to Vice Chair Harrison, I think Superintendent Barnes is probably in the best position to respond.
Through you, Chair, to the trustees. There's a long history of independent schools being part of GHAC, or whatever GHAC was called historically. The independent schools are in some sports, not all. They kind of add to the richness and competition. They do participate in our league. So I think the error here was that there are sometimes there are two teams that represent an association, and unfortunately, we had believed that our team was the other team in this association, but in the end, that's where the error was.
Thank you, Superintendent Barnes. Trustee Harrison, does that answer your question? You good? Trustee Grabantz.
Point of order, please.
Yes.
Trustee Gray speaking. I believe that Superintendent Barnes continued to speak, but we weren't hearing his audio. I'm wondering if he could reestablish his comments, because he was still speaking as you began, Margot.
Oh, sorry about that. There might be a bit of a delay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
okay.
We can.
Sorry if I cut you off, Superintendent Barnes.
Sorry, through you, Chair, to the trustees. I was just pointing out that the independent schools do participate in our association, have for a number of years and a number of different sports. So I think if we were advocating, we did believe there was going to be two teams in association invited to OFSA, and there wasn't. So that's where the error was. So I'm not sure if advocating on that behalf would be the course of action to take. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Barnes. Sorry for cutting you off earlier. Trustee Grabantz.
So I don't think there's anybody after me. Okay. So this is a different topic. I just wanted to say that it has been an honor and a privilege to serve the Halton District School Board as chair for the past 4 years. And I want to provide a heartfelt congratulations to Chair Shuttleworth on her new position, and also to offer any support so that the transition is as seamless as possible. So again, I wanted to say congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Grabantz. I just want to quickly return to Trustee Oliver if she had a motion to craft for the school piece.
Yes.
And sorry, Trustee Oliver, I will take you up wholeheartedly on any support you can give me. Sorry, Trustee Oliver.
Trustee Grabantz. Okay.
Got it right.
Thank you. Okay, so through you, Chair, I'm hearing that there is some support for connecting with OFSA, and asking them perhaps to look into how this error was made, and what improvements could be made. And I'd like to get confirmation from trustees and staff that that's the route we'd like to go. My premise for suggesting that we do something, that we reach out and request for something, is that an error was made on their part. A team who was doing very well deserved the spot, if that spot existed, and took it, believing that they're going into the OFSA championship games. And then it was withdrawn on a final game prior to the championship. So a whole lot of heartache, misstep in the process, and then who knows what else that we're not aware of. And so also, we have to understand this is a very unique year. As was last year. Last year, our students were denied every kind of opportunity, be it arts, sports, various clubs and participation, co-op placements, apprenticeship. So I think, for us to be able to return, and it is upon all of us to offer as much as we can to make up for those losses, because these students do not have an infinite amount of time in a high school. Their career is 4 years. And when you're looking at a particular club or sport or whatever, it's shorter than that. So I was hoping that, OFSA could have made some concessions and could have, going back to their mission statement that Trustee Gray read out to us, use that as their guiding kind of light and say, we messed up. Why don't we allow 2 extra teams? And I get that there are logistics that are beyond my comprehension, probably, that are involved. But I think, some effort could have been made and concessions made, keeping in mind, more opportunities for more students, make up for last year. This team was offered the spot they believed they were going, and now last minute it was pulled away. So I'm not an athlete, but I'm incredibly upset for this team, and for the families and the school community. And so I'm thinking, reaching out, and one thing that we could be asking for is that OFSA do a thorough look at what happened, what went wrong, and to outline for themselves appropriate steps that need to be taken so that such an error does not occur in the future. So if you'd like, I could read out a motion if that's required, or is it that we direct the chair to write a letter? Is this something that staff feel that is within, purview of the trustees?
So Associate Director Bogue has his hand up, so I think he might be able to respond to your questions.
You're
Sorry,
on mute,
David, you're on mute.
Oh, I apologize. I have the double click going on there. Through chair to Trustee Oliver, I would just offer maybe a thought around what the trustees may wish to include in a motion. I think from a staff perspective, we really understand what happened. I think they've thoroughly explained the error and how it happened. So my suggestion might be something around maybe the focus of the motion is to ask OFSA to review how they manage these kinds of things moving forward. And I think they probably have an annual general meeting where issues are raised and discussed. Like, how would they manage these kinds of things moving forward so that they're not disadvantaging students? Because inevitably errors will happen again. I mean, it's a complex organization, and so I suspect that they will happen again. I think we're not satisfied, but we believe we understand what happened. So I think it's kind of a moving forward to review how they're operating and how they might have some flexibility when needed. All the logistics and all those other pieces aside, and I think Trustee Oliver, you're right. There are lots there that we don't maybe understand the nuances of having to adjust on the fly, but that flexibility when they're an organization that is there to support kids, one would hope is there. So that would be my only suggestion, is maybe not to dwell on what happened, because we think we do know what happened, but moving forward, how to avoid or how to problem solve it, situations that surface in the future.
Okay. So shall I read out what I have and then, or?
Yeah, I just want to check. So Trustee Gray, did you have anything you want to add before Trustee Oliver reads her motion?
Yes, I did, and this is through the chair to the director. Are we satisfied that under the OFSA organizational structure, there is no process for appeal?
Through the chair, I'm going to ask Superintendent Barnes to respond.
Through the chair to Trustee Gray, I do know that Associate Director Bogue referenced the Constitution. So that was one of the things that didn't allow them to add teams, and that's what was referenced. So I believe they're following their Constitution in terms of what they're allowed to do and not to do. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. I had just wondered if there was an appeal process, given the unusual nature of this year, but also the unusual nature of such a incorrect decision having been made by OFSA. And I had a second question. Has our team in any way incurred any expense? I'm thinking of if there is cancellations of hotels down in the Niagara region, things like that. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, to Trustee Gray. I think the reason why there was no appeal, it's kind of like not a decision-making action. So there was no appeal for us to appeal to. In terms of the second question, no, there were no costs incurred. There was time incurred. And they did actually, as was referenced, did ship made plans to ship that paraphernalia, but there was no cost incurred.
Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Barnes and Trustee Gray. Trustee Oliver, would you like to read the motion you have started to craft? And again, I think it was Associate Director Bogue who said to focus not necessarily on what happened, but how we move forward in a more successful, or how OFSA moves forward in a more successful way.
Yes. So I'm going to read what I have. And I might need some help with whether it's dates or the exact wording, but this is kind of a quick first go at a draft. So whereas the Thomas A. Blakelock High School AA girls basketball team had earned a competing spot in the November 19, 2021 Ontario Federation of School Athletics Association OFSA basketball championship, and whereas TAB was informed as they were warming up for a championship game that they were not allowed to compete, resulting in great stress for the team members. And whereas OFSA advised HDSB coaches that the last-minute retraction of TAB from the tournament was due to an error on the part of OFSA, that the HDSB hereby requests a written explanation from OFSA of the causes of the error that led to the last-minute retraction of TAB's basketball team from OFSA competition on November 19, 2021, and that OFSA provide assurances to HDSB that appropriate steps have been taken to ensure that such an error will not occur in the future for any school team competing in an OFSA event.
Trustee Oliver, could you share that motion with everyone? And I'm just wondering, again, from Associate Director Bogue's direction, looking at shifting the focus to how we're going to move forward versus, because for my understanding, Associate Director Bogue and Superintendent Barnes, they've given an explanation of what happened. So now we want to look at how they're going to ensure this doesn't happen again. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I understand that, and I drafted this before the full conversation was had, so hence the adjustments that are required. How shall I share it?
I think either if it's a Google Doc, you could share the link or email it to the trustees and
Okay. I'm sorry, I did it in Word. I'm just going to quickly copy and paste it into a Google Doc and share it with trustees and some of the key staff here.
Yes, please. I would.
Okay, no pressure.
It's okay. We're all moving slow tonight.
We're happy to support the trustees in with languages, but I'm wondering, since there is really not an urgency to the matter, been already that it's passed, if it's something that we could table for another time rather than trying to work it out here.
That sounds like a great idea. Trustee Gray, you have your hand up 2 times.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to introduce one other concept, and that is that we might want to be sure that we are moving forward appropriately, in that we do have a member association, GHAC, Greater Horseshoe, and I believe we may, and I'm asking for some guidance on this, would we need to have our thoughts or our movement be taken through that group on its way before getting to OFSA? It's more than a courtesy. It may be the way in which communication to OFSA is expected. I'm looking for guidance from senior admin on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gray. Associate Director Bogue or Director Ennis, can you determine what staff might be best to answer that question?
Happy to have Associate Director Bogue or Superintendent Barnes speak, but I still maintain my previous comment that we may want to table this, and that would give us the opportunity to do just what Trustee Gray is suggesting.
All right, so are we happy as trustees to leave this for the moment? Yes, sorry, Trustee Oliver.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy. I wanted to bring it to your attention. Didn't know how to proceed, but I'm happy to park it, share it with the group, and I do think we need to give it some good, solid thought and figure out who else we need to consult with before we fire off a response or a request. So thank you.
Great.
I'll share the document and we'll take our time.
Great. Thank you so much. So we'll just leave that for now and come back to it at a later time once we've had a chance to digest and think about it. I think, are there any other trustee questions and comments? I see none on the list, and I see, oh, yeah, sorry, Trustee L. Harrison, my list is not working. So.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, I wanted to follow up on Trustee Collard's question regarding masking. And it's my understanding that the Public Health PHAC of Canada has updated some of their thinking and guidance around the N95s in the last week or so. So I just wondered whether that has been part of the conversations with public health, local public health recently.
Through the chair, I'm going to ask Superintendent Blackwell to respond.
Thank you. Through the chair to Vice Chair L. Harrison. We have not talked about it in the last week. I know that public health is very much focused right now on getting vaccination sites up and running. I will bring it to public health as a conversation point the next time we meet, but it was not on our agenda this week.
Thank you. It does appear that that landscape is shifting a little bit, and it would be great to, I guess, be able to reflect whatever the latest and greatest is. Thank you for asking them.
Thank you. I see nothing on the speakers list, and I'm just checking to see if anyone's wildly waving their hands at me. That might help me a little bit more. Sorry, Vice Chair Harrison, for missing you earlier. Are there any other questions and comments from trustees? I think we're good. So now we move on to 7.9, which is public questions. To ask a question, please use the button on the live stream page on hdsb.ca website or use the link at the bottom of tonight's agenda. Questions posed during live stream meetings of the Board of Trustees may be answered during the meeting, particularly those related to agenda items, or at the following meeting at the direct discretion of the chair. For efficiency, multiple questions received that are similar in nature may be grouped together at the discretion of the chair and/or vice chair. Questions will not be attributed. When necessary, a notation will be made that multiple people ask the same question. Any question that contains language that is hateful or discriminatory will not be considered. Vice Chair L. Harrison, do we have any questions submitted this evening?
Thank you, Chair Shuttleworth. We do not.
Thank you so much. There are several ways to be heard at the Board of Trustees about your questions. So on top of asking questions on the website through the board meetings, you can also reach out to your local trustees. So thank you so much, Trustee L. Harrison, for manning that sheet. And I am pretty sure we have come to the end of our meeting. However, quickly, before we go, I just again wanted to extend my extreme gratitude for you all allowing me to lead this board through the next year. Again, I think it's really important that we have conditions for everyone to shine, because this is not something I'm going to be able to do alone. I need everyone's support and help to do that. We are a team of great leaders, and we all have different capacities. And I know it's important to draw on the strengths of all of you in helping me navigate this year. So I think of all of you, and I think of the different ways you've helped me. So Leah, you always have had your community ear to the ground. Joanna, your expertise in health-related areas. Amy's understanding of policy and practice. Tracy's diplomacy. Andrea's knowledge of technology and media savvy. Jean's insightful insider lens. Tanya and her keen eye to detail in both policy and wording. Heather and her real estate knowledge and experience as an educational assistant. Kelly's vast experience as a trustee. Donna's greater provincial lend and all things OPSPA. And of course, both Vandy and Casey and their connection to the students. It's just so nice to know that I have the support of all of you in moving forward. I can't get back. With that being said, I think we have exhausted our agenda, and I call this meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone, and have a great evening. And for all of those whose elves returned this morning, have a great day.